What a special national championship that was a year ago. And can you believe it? Exactly 3 weeks from tonight, we will crown a new national champion. And it all starts with finding out who will be in the field of 29 teams. That dream alive, chasing that trophy, a national championship on the line. Hi, everybody. Alongside the Hall of Famer, Sheehan Stanwyck-Birch, I'm Jay Alter. Thank you so much for joining us. A special half hour awaits, Sheehan. We find out together who's in, who's out.
It's just so exciting. This is historic. A women's only selection show, 30 minutes, 29 lucky teams will get to hear their name. And I think this season, again, is phenomenal. We had 3 teams ranked at #1 different times for the season. And I'm really excited to see how the selection committee sees everyone in those first round matchups.
Yeah, unlike years past, it feels like there's a lot up for debate this year. But before we reveal the 29 teams, let's take a look at how this tournament sets up. So, as we said, 29 teams in the field, 15 automatic qualifiers. That means you won your conference championship. And then if you didn't win your conference championship, you still have a way in via the at-large selections, 14 of those. The committee seeds the top 8. After those top 8 teams, they try and keep with the merit of it, but really a lot of it comes down to geography. And those top 3 seeds are crucial because you get a critical first round bye. So 29 teams to announce. Sheehan, we don't have a lot of time. Let's get right into it. The #1 team in the 2023 field, no surprise here, the Northwestern Wildcats.
I mean, they have been dominant. Izzy Skane is an amazing player that we've been hearing her name. She was sidelined last year. She's back on the field this year and has taken the nation by storm. But they've got a lot of other weapons as well. Erin Kuykendall has had a phenomenal season as well. Molly LaLiberty in cage. So really strength from top to bottom and just coming off the Big Ten championship.
Northwestern lost their first game of the year against Syracuse in February. Since then, 17 straight wins, a deserving #1 team. And check out that reaction in Chicago. The Big Ten champions, now the #1 seed in this tournament, Northwestern. They're having a lot of fun, Sheehan.
I love seeing that. They deserve to have fun, and you can just see that they've been excited, especially in this last stretch of the season.
So the Wildcats get that first round bye. They await the winner of Michigan out of the Big Ten. That's an at-large selection. And that, if Michigan were to beat their first round opponent, the Wolverines, that'd be an all Big Ten matchup in the second round.
I say this sarcastically. They get that fun matchup of meeting Northwestern for maybe the 3rd time. They just played on Thursday, and Northwestern was victorious, beating them 18-11. Michigan is a strong team. Jill Smith leads the way for them. You know, really a strong conference in the Big Ten, so a lot of great competition.
They play the MAC champions, the Chippewas of Central Michigan. So Michigan, Central Michigan, the winner takes on Northwestern. We continue to reveal the 1 seed side of the bracket. How about the 8 seed? And it's Loyola, Maryland out of the Patriot League. The Patriot League champions seeded.
Yeah, Loyola, they've dominated their conference play, and they've been playing extremely strong. Jillian Wilson is phenomenal, controlling the draw circle. Katie Detweiler defensively, so a really strong team. Looking forward to see them in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, the Greyhounds, a terrific program, 17-2. You're taking a live look at their watch party. There's the reaction. They are fired up to be in the top 8. And as we said, the committee only seeds those top 8 teams. Then it's really based off geography. So that's a big deal for Loyola.
A huge deal. And I love how the watch parties involve the trophy, too. Just taking an extra seat up in the mix.
Yeah, if you got the hardware, bring it along. Loyola taking on the champions of the other MAC. So you've got the MAC with 1A and the MAC with 2 A's. And that's Fairfield, the Stags, taking on Loyola in the opening round. And the winner of Loyola, Maryland, and Fairfield will take on the winner of Penn State, another Big Ten team who will face Stony Brook. The Seawolves, always dangerous in this tournament. Joe Spallina, you know he's getting on Twitter, firing off a tweet during the selection show. It's a tradition unlike any other.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. This Stony Brook team is a team that no one really wants to match up with. Very dominant, gritty teams that historically give a lot of players and teams a hard time matching up. Ellie Macera leads the way for them. But a really strong team. They had some great regular season matchups. They weren't able to get those victories, but look for them for a little redemption tour.
And the Seawolves seeing their name. It wasn't a question. The Colonial champs, so one of those automatic qualifiers. You knew they would get in. You just didn't know where they would be. Unseeded, taking on Penn State. So, Sheehan, what do you make? First 8 teams into this field? Early thoughts?
You know, I think it's exciting. I think we knew that Northwestern was going to be that #1 seed, so that was really not a surprise to anybody, especially them coming off the Big Ten championship. But I'm excited to see who gets the rest of the seeded spots, because that's where the discussion really lies.
Big Ten heavy first 8 teams. You've got Northwestern, Michigan, and Penn State already in the field, so that's a strong start for the Big Ten. Let's keep it going. So first 8 teams in the field. We saw 2 seeded teams in Northwestern and Loyola. Let's see the #4 seed, and it is the reigning national champions in North Carolina.
North Carolina, they have been very strong. Now, they've had a lot of youth this year. So even though they started out the season ranked #1 in the nation, that was something that Jenny Levy and her staff said, well, I'm not really sure why we are ranked #1 in the beginning of the season. I think it's a good thing that they had some losses, though, in their schedule, because they were able to grow and really just develop as a team. Now, they came up short in the ACC championship tournament, and BC being the winner there. But Caroline Godine has had a fantastic freshman start, and I really think that they might be putting all the pieces together. I think they could make a deep run. They've been a constant in that championship weekend.
And made it to the ACC championship game, lost to Boston College. There's the Tar Heels reaction. And they know that it's not where you're seated, it's where you end championship weekend. They were the reigning national champions a year ago. So Tar Heels slide in as a #4 seed. They take on Sacred Heart, the NEC champions. And then the winner of North Carolina's Sacred Heart will match up against an at-large team in Marquette out of the Big East, or Richmond first. So Richmond's going to take on Marquette, the Golden Eagles, taking on Richmond. And Spiders were on the bubble, but they took care of business, won their conference championship, automatic bid.
It was a huge win for them to get that AQ, a win over UMass. So congratulations to Richmond. You know, that's amazing, doing the job when it counts. They'll look to continue on their win streak. You know, Richmond is one of those teams. They had a great win against UVA in the season, so there was a lot of talk about this Richmond program. So, you know, this is one of the fields, when we look at the whole Division I landscape, that every team is dangerous. So these first-round matchups, I think that we could see a lot of upsets. So, you know, really excited. You see the reaction there, and the trophy. Love the hardware being brought.
And they already have that winner-go-home mentality. They know they needed to win to keep their season alive. They won the A-10 championship, and we kind of spoiled it, but they're going to take on Marquette. The Golden Eagles getting an at-large bid. One of those bubble teams in Marquette earning their way into the field. Let's move to the top half of that bracket. The #5 seed, Denver. So the Pioneers, they're the lone undefeated team left in the country, 19-0, and yet the committee puts them at 5.
I know. You know, that was something that has actually really surprised me. 19-0 in this season, a historic run for this Denver program, and everyone talks about their defense. Really so dangerous. And when they were put head-to-head against Boston College, they came out with that win. They had, you know, when the wins mattered, they were able to deliver on them. So a really strong team that I think that no one wants to be matched up against, but very exciting for the program, although I am surprised they get the #5 seed. Thought that they could have had a chance to be higher, but still awesome for the program.
Now let's see who takes on the Pioneers in that opening round, and it's the Pac-12 champions, USC.
Yeah, and USC winning their automatic qualifying bid, a 7-game win streak, big win over Colorado. So exciting for those teams. The growth of the game is spreading, which is exciting to see, just different teams getting in the mix. But Denver, I think, is going to continue on that win streak. Really impressive resume. You know, only undefeated team left in the nation.
And USC out on the West Coast reacting to this live. I don't know if it'll be a big, you're happy to see your name, but going against Denver, oh no, they're fired up.
I think anytime you hear your name called, it's an exciting, such an accomplishment for all these programs. Worked so hard, so many teams, over 100 teams in Division I. So to be one of these final 29 teams is really something to be proud of.
And finishing the top half of our 2023 Women's Lacrosse Championship bracket, Virginia out of the ACC earning an at-large bid. Not a surprise there. The Cavaliers, a really strong regular season campaign. And taking on Albany, the America East champs.
You know, Virginia did the things when they needed to. Last year, they were trying to get above 500, some must-win games. This year, they really were strong in team. A lot of talent for that UVA program. So congratulations to all the teams in this portion of the bracket. A lot of talent there.
Well, the best part of this, by far, is seeing the reactions on the faces so far. So half the bracket has been revealed. You know, Denver earning that 5 seed, North Carolina at 4. Two teams that we expected to be in that top 5. Boston College and Syracuse. We'll find out where those two are seated when we come back. Getting some anxious teams waiting on the bubble. Some teams already locked in. Let's reveal the rest of our field. And the number 2 seed, the Syracuse Orange. Big debate. Would it be Boston College? Would it be Syracuse at number 2? And she and the committee putting the Orange behind Northwestern as the number 2 seed.
You know, I think this is going to have a lot of debate about it, but you see their record there, and it's a full body of work. They started the season 15-0, and really, I didn't see any weaknesses in their team from top to bottom. So strong, but they ended the season with 2 key losses: a loss to Boston College, head-to-head, and UNC. So are they going to be able to put the pieces together? I think it's huge for the ACC that their conference tournament was last week, so they had another extra week of break, but you can see they're pumped to get that number 2 seed. But I have to think that the Boston College Eagles might be thinking that maybe they deserved it.
Now, for long stretches of this season, Syracuse looked like the number 1 team, but in recent weeks, 2 late losses pushed them down to number 2, and maybe some controversy there because Boston College beat them head-to-head. So the Orange earned that bye, so automatically in the second round, and they host Johns Hopkins, the winner of Johns Hopkins and UMass. So 2 at-large teams making it into the field.
You know, big news, Johns Hopkins. Look at the record, 8-8. You have to be above 500 to be considered an at-large bid. And the key thing is for Johns Hopkins is that they won when they needed to, some key games down the stretch.
The number 7 seed in the Syracuse region, James Madison. Now, very interesting, the committee, as they revealed over the course of the regular season, James Madison was routinely in the top 5. They fall down to 7 after losing their conference championship to Florida.
You know, just 2 losses, but yes, James Madison gets one of those coveted spots. Big win, and I'm sure they had the regular season wins against Florida, which really bolstered their resume, but just lost to them in the conference tournament.
You know, this is a James Madison team that has won a national championships, Sheehan. A Duke's team that has built a lacrosse power there year in and year out certainly will be dangerous in this field. You
know, Shelley Clace's teams are super talented. They have that national championship on their belt, and they have been overlooked, quite frankly, by people, but they have a ton of talent. Isabella Peterson leading the way, an amazing goal scorer. But this JMU teams are going to need to look out for it, and I think they got the credit they deserve with the number 7 spot.
James Madison will take on Army West Point, and that is great to see because that is a first for Army, hearing their name called on the Women's Lacrosse Selection Show for the first time in school history.
There is something special about that. I can attest to that. I remember it when I was a freshman, hearing our name for the first time, and it's special. Remember this moment. It'll be in your memory bank forever.
And we've got Army with a live look. This might be the reaction of the night. Hard-fought game of the Patriot League Championship to Loyola. Had to get in via at-large. Michelle Tumalo has done such a great job with this Army program, and there's the reaction.
I was nervous they maybe weren't allowed to cheer. I'm so glad to see them get out of their seats. Enjoy this moment. Congratulations.
That is phenomenal. For the first time in school history, Army hears their name. That is what it is all about right there. That's what you love about the selection show. For the first time in school history, a team gets to celebrate like that. And for the Syracuse region, James Madison, again, a lot needs to be played out, but that could set up quite a quarterfinal matchup.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting the way that these games play out. We've seen some already regular season upsets happen, so I really can't wait to see how this all unfolds.
So let's finish up this bracket. The final 2 teams of the Syracuse region. There's Maryland, the Terps. They are a perennial power in this sport. Usually you can bank on them getting seeded in the top 8, but Maryland unseeded, and they will take on Drexel.
You know, and this Maryland team, you can never count them out. So much championship experience coming back to Final Four weekend. Emily Sterling and Cage, goalkeeper of the year last year. When you have a strong goalie, they can take you really far.
Okay, our final team with a bye, the 3 seed, and there's no surprise here. It's Boston College. A lot of people probably think the Eagles should have been seeded number 2 after they beat Syracuse head-to-head, won the ACC championship for the first time in school history.
I mean, that was a historic moment for that program, and what they've really done late this season, comeback victories against Syracuse, Notre Dame in the regular season, UNC in the ACC championship. The selection committee doesn't use the eye test, but if they did, I would give BC the number 2 seed. So
you would.
Number 3 is still, amazing accomplishment. This team has so much experience, been to 5 straight national championship games. Acacia
Walker knows how to get this Eagles team to peak at the right time. They have won 10 straight ACC champs, and they will be the number 3 seed. Earn that bye. We go to Chestnut Hill for the Eagles' reaction. As Sheehan said, Boston College has been to 5 straight national championship games. They've won 1 of those 5. They'll have a strong shot to get to Cary and win another national championship. How about that? Boston College doing what the Golden State Warriors did from 2015 to 2019 on the back of Steph Curry. That is rarefied air that the Eagles have put themselves in when it comes to sports. Okay, back to the bracket. We got to speed through this here as we finish our field of 29. The Eagles with that first round bye taking on the winner of Penn, the Ivy League champs. How about the Quakers, an Ivy League thriller today, beating Yale in overtime 15-14.
Such a fun game to watch. The Ivy League was an absolute battle, and Penn gets it done. Anna Brandt had the overtime goal with a beautiful assist by Erica Chung. Just a really exciting game between both those teams that looked like they could really have a reason to be in this NCAA tournament field, but Penn secured that AQ and a monster victory for that program.
There's the reaction after they won earlier today. You see that hardware. And Penn, a terrific season, undefeated in Ivy League play. The Bulldogs still waiting to hear their name called. They're a potential bubble team in Yale. Penn takes on UConn, another at-large out of the Big East. We move to the 6th seed, and it's the Florida Gators. They won a big-time conference championship game over James Madison, and the committee rewards them, elevating them into the top 6.
Yeah, they had the regular season loss to JMU, able to avenge that, and then their only other losses were to UNC and Maryland. So this Florida team is super strong. Emma Lapinto and Sarah Resnick, the goalkeeper, is phenomenal. And I think, goalies, as we've seen, as you get through the NCAA tournament, you need to have a really strong goalie to take you far. So look for Florida to make some wave.
They're loving it down in Gainesville. Again, the committee emphasizes geography, so we were not surprised to see Jacksonville taking on Florida. Feels like they're always in the same pod when they both win their conference championship.
Yes, and that Jacksonville, huge congratulations to Tara Singleton in her first year as head coach of that program.
So Florida Jacksonville takes on the winner of Mercer. Mercer getting it done, and final team in our field, Notre Dame. Chris Halfpenny, the Irish out of the ACC. They beat North Carolina. Thought maybe they would get a shot to be seated in that top 8, but they'll have to get to the quarterfinal through Mercer and then the winner of Florida Jacksonville. Northwestern to the number 1 seed. You know they want to make that trophy theirs 3 weeks from today. We'll be back to wrap up the Women's Selection Show.